What is up, everybody? JT Dangerous here once again. I am here to do my Week 8 college football predictions. Now, with Week 7 in the books, we are now into Week 8 of the college football season, and I am very excited to do my Week 8 predictions for you guys, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, our record coming into Week 8 after a very good Week 7, we went 13-3, so we're starting to heat up big time, and I'm looking to keep it that way. So, hoping this video we will continue the red-hot winning ways. We're on a 5-week winning streak. Hoping this video we make it 6 weeks, hopefully. Now, this is the first video in a combined 2-video day on the channel today, guys. So, hope you guys will be able to watch both these videos. Always show your support on the channel by watching these videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, and commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your college football teams in the comment sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, as a first-time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, you picked to go in if you're a huge fan of college football like myself, and you're ready for Week 8 of the college football season. Welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I'm JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is two. Whoop whoop! Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these Week 8 college football predictions. Starting off on Thursday night with a Pac-12 rivalry showdown between the UCLA Bruins heading to Stanford to face the Stanford Cardinal. Now, this is the 92nd meeting between UCLA and Stanford. UCLA leads the all-time series 45-42-3. Now, the Cardinal have won the last 11 meetings against the Bruins, dating all the way back to 2009, and the Bruins are looking to defeat the Cardinal for the first time since 2008. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 7. UCLA's coming in at 1-5, and Stanford's coming in at 3-3. So, coming from me in this Pac-12 rivalry showdown on Thursday night, I'm going to go with the Stanford Cardinal to get a big win at home and defeat the UCLA Bruins. And now the next matchup, which happens on Friday. It is an ACC rivalry showdown between the Pittsburgh Panthers heading to the Carrier Dome to face the Orangemen of Syracuse. Now, this is the 75th meeting between Pittsburgh and Syracuse. Pitt leads the all-time series 39-32-3. Now, the Panthers won the last meeting last year against Syracuse, and the Orangemen are looking to defeat the Panthers for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 7s. Pittsburgh is coming off a bye. They're coming in at 4-2, and the Orangemen are coming off their loss to NC State on Thursday, coming in at 3-3. So, coming from me in this ACC rivalry showdown on Friday night, I'm going to go with the Pitt Panthers to get it done on the road and defeat the Syracuse Orangemen in a close one. And now the next matchup, which also happens on Friday night, it is a Big Ten rivalry showdown between the Ohio State Buckeyes heading to Northwestern to face the Northwestern Wildcats. Now, this is the 78th meeting between Ohio State and Northwestern. Ohio State leads the all-time series 62-14-1. Now, the Buckeyes have won the last 5 meetings against the Wildcats, dating all the way back to 2005, and the Wildcats are looking to defeat the Buckeyes for the first time since 2004. Now, both these teams are coming off byes in Week 7. Ohio State's coming in perfect at 6-0, and Northwestern's coming in at 1-4. So, coming from me in this Big Ten rivalry showdown on Friday night, I'm going to go with Justin Fields and the Ohio State Buckeyes to get a big win on the road, remain undefeated, and defeat the Northwestern Wildcats in a blowout. OHIO. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the West Virginia Mountaineers heading to Norman to face my Oklahoma Sooners. Now, this is only the 12th meeting between West Virginia and Oklahoma. The Sooners lead the all-time series 9-2. Now, the Sooners have won the last 7 meetings against the Mountaineers, dating all the way back to 2012, and the Mountaineers are looking to defeat my Sooners for the first time since the 2008 Fiesta Bowl. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 7s in the Big 12 Conference. West Virginia is coming off their loss to Iowa State on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. And my Sooners are coming off their big victory over Texas in the Red River Rivalry Showdown on Saturday, coming in perfect at 6-0. So, coming from me in this Big 12 Rivalry Showdown, ooh, man, this one's going to be good. But coming from me, I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Hurts and my Oklahoma Sooners to get it done at home, remain undefeated, and defeat the West Virginia Mountaineers in an offensive shootout. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC West rivalry showdown between the Auburn Tigers heading to Arkansas to face the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now this is the 29th meeting between Auburn and Arkansas. Auburn leads the all-time series 16-11-1. Now, Auburn has won the last 3 meetings against the Hogs, and the Hogs are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time in 4 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different week 7s. Auburn's coming off their bye. They're coming in at 5-1, and Arkansas is coming off their loss to Kentucky on Saturday, coming in at 2-4. So coming from me in this SEC West rivalry showdown, the last time we saw Auburn was the loss against Florida. So let's hope this bye turn this team around. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Bo Nix because Bo knows, and the Auburn Tigers to get a big win on the road and defeat the Arkansas Razorbacks. War Eagle! And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 South rivalry showdown between the Arizona Wildcats heading to the Coliseum to face the USC Trojans. Now this is only the 42nd meeting between Arizona and USC. USC leads the all-time series 33-8. Now, the Trojans have won the last 6 meetings against the Wildcats, dating all the way back to 2013, and the Wildcats are looking to defeat the Trojans for the first time since 2012. Now, both teams are coming off very bad week 7s. Arizona's coming off their loss to Washington on Saturday night, coming in at 4-2, and USC's coming off their loss to Notre Dame on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. So, coming from me in this Pac-12 South rivalry showdown, ooh, this one's going to be good. But coming from me, I got to go with Khalil Tate and the Arizona Wildcats to bear down and get a big road victory and defeat the USC Trojans in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown between the Florida State Seminoles heading to Wake Forest to face the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now this is the 38th meeting between Florida State and Wake Forest. The Seminoles lead the all-time series 36-1. Now the Seminoles have won the last 7 meetings against the Demon Deacons dating all the way back to 2012, and Wake Forest is looking to defeat Florida State for the first time since 2011. Now, both teams are coming off losses in Week 7 against ACC rival opponents. Florida State's coming off their blowout loss to Clemson on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. And the Demon Deacons are coming off a close nail-biting loss to Louisville on Saturday, coming in at 5-1. So coming from me in this ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown, man, who would have thought Wake Forest, 5-1 coming into Week 8 of the college football season. I did not see Wake Forest being 5-1 up until this point. So I'm very happy to see Wake Forest is definitely getting back to being a good team. So coming from me, what I saw in Florida State against Clemson, they just do not look good. Willie Taggart is not doing a good job in Florida State at all. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Florida State Seminoles in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Baylor Bears heading to Stillwater, Oklahoma to face the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Now this is the 38th meeting between Baylor and Oklahoma State. The Cowboys lead the all-time series 20-17. Now Baylor won the last meeting last year against Oklahoma State, and the Cowboys are looking to defeat the Bears for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very different week 7s. Baylor's coming off their double overtime victory over Texas Tech on Saturday, coming in perfect at 6-0, and Oklahoma State's coming off a bye, coming in at 4-2. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, I know that Oklahoma State game at the end of the year, Bedlam, is going to be fun this year, but I'm very happy for Baylor. I mean, Baylor has definitely had some rough years ever since Robert Griffin III left, but I'm happy that Baylor is having a good year this year. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the undefeated Baylor Bears to get it done on the road, remain undefeated, and defeat the Oklahoma State Cowboys in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC rivalry showdown between the Tennessee Volunteers heading to Tuscaloosa to face the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now this is the 101st meeting between Tennessee and Alabama. Alabama leads the all-time series 55-38-7. Now, Bama has won the last 12 meetings against the Volunteers dating all the way back to 2007, and the Volunteers are looking to defeat the Alabama Crimson Tide for the first time since 2006. Now, both teams are coming off big victories in Week 7 against SEC opponents. Tennessee's coming off their big victory over Mississippi State on Saturday, coming in at 2-4, and Bama's coming off their big victory over Texas A&M on Saturday, coming in perfect at 6-0. So coming from me in this SEC rivalry showdown, This may not be a pretty game. I can see this game being over by halftime. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Tua and the Alabama Crimson Tide to get it done at home, remain undefeated, and defeat the Tennessee Volunteers in a blowout. Roll Tide! And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Kentucky Wildcats heading to Athens to face the Georgia Bulldogs. Now this is the 73rd meeting between Kentucky and Georgia. Georgia leads the all-time series 58-12-2. Now Georgia has won the last 9 meetings against Kentucky dating all the way back to 2010, and the Wildcats are looking to defeat the Bulldogs for the first time since 2009. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 7s in the SEC. Kentucky's coming off their big victory over Arkansas on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. And Georgia's coming off their double overtime shocking loss to the South Carolina Gamecocks on Saturday, coming in at 5-1. So coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, that Georgia loss on Saturday was a shock. I did not see Georgia losing that game at all. And they definitely dropped the ball when it mattered the most, because with the college football playoff top 4 getting closer and closer, that loss definitely hurts Georgia's chances. But coming from me, I just do not see Georgia losing back-to-back home games. I just can't. So I got to go with Jake Fromm from State Farm and the Georgia Bulldogs to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Kentucky Wildcats in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is my Boise State Broncos heading to BYU to face the BYU Cougars. Now this is only the 10th meeting between Boise State and BYU. Boise State leads the all-time series 7-2. Now the Broncos have won the last 3 meetings against the Cougars, and the Cougars are looking to defeat my Broncos for the first time in 4 years. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 7s. Boise State's coming off their big victory on Smurf turf against Hawaii on Saturday night, coming in undefeated at 6-0. And BYU's coming off their loss to South Florida on Saturday, coming in at 2-4. So coming from me in this matchup, playing at BYU is never easy, but coming from me, I'm going to go with my boys, the Boise State Broncos, to get it done on the road, remain undefeated, and defeat the BYU Cougars in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Florida Gators heading to Columbia, South Carolina to face the South Carolina Gamecocks. Now this is the 40th meeting between Florida and South Carolina. The Gators lead the all-time series 27-9-3. Now, the Gators won the last meeting last year against the Gamecocks, and the Gamecocks are looking to defeat the Gators for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 7s against SEC opponents. Florida's coming off their loss to the LSU Tigers on Saturday, coming in at 6-1, and South Carolina's coming off their biggest victory of the season this year, defeating Georgia in double overtime on the road on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. So, coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, man, you talk about a rivalry between Florida and South Carolina. The old head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, coached South Carolina and Florida. And can South Carolina do it for the second week in a row? Get a monumental big upset against an SEC East rival? That's going to be the biggest question. Coming from me, I got to go with Dan Mullen and the Florida Gators to get it done on the road and defeat the South Carolina Gamecocks in a close shootout. Chomp. Chomp. And now the next matchup. It is a MAC West rivalry showdown between the Western Michigan Broncos heading to Eastern Michigan to face the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Now this is the 55th meeting between Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan. Western Michigan leads the all-time series 34-18-2. Now the Broncos have won the last 5 meetings against the Eagles, and the Eagles are looking to defeat the Broncos for the first time since 2013. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 7s in the MAC Conference. Western Michigan's coming off their big victory over Miami of Ohio on Saturday, coming in at 4-3. And Eastern Michigan's coming off their loss to Ball State on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. So coming from me in this MAC West rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Western Michigan Broncos to get it done on the road and defeat the Eastern Michigan Eagles. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Coastal rivalry showdown between the North Carolina Tar Heels heading Tulane Stadium to face the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now this is the 41st meeting between North Carolina and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech leads the all-time series 23-11-6. Now the Hokies have won the last 3 meetings against the Tar Heels, and the Tar Heels are looking to defeat the Hokies for the first time in 4 years. Now both teams are coming off very different week 7s. North Carolina's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 3-3, and Virginia Tech is coming off their victory over Rhode Island, a cupcake opponent, on Saturday, coming in at 4-2. So coming from me in this ACC Coastal rivalry showdown, talk about a great year for North Carolina already. I mean, they are 3-3, but the fact that Mac Brown has done a fantastic job in Chapel Hill has definitely shown that this team is definitely on the rise in the ACC Coastal. They nearly beat Clemson, and that could have been their biggest victory of their whole program's history. But they did fall short. But they showed that they can hang with any ACC top opponent. Coming from me, playing at Virginia Tech is not easy. So I'm going to take the Virginia Tech Hokies to get it done at home and defeat the North Carolina Tar Heels in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is an American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown between the Temple Owls heading to SMU to face the SMU Mustangs. Now this is only the 6th meeting between Temple and SMU. The series is tied 2-2-1. Now the Owls have won the last 2 meetings against the Mustangs, and the Mustangs are looking to defeat the Owls for the first time since 2013. Now both teams are coming out very different week 7s. Temple's coming off their big victory over Memphis on Saturday, coming in at 5-1, and SMU's coming off a bye. They're coming in perfect at 6-0. So coming from me in this American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown, who would have thought Temple is 5-1 coming into week 8 of the college football season? That's a big surprise. And the even bigger surprise, SMU is perfect coming into week 8 of the college football season as well. I mean, who would have thought SMU would be 6-0 right now? That's two surprising teams in the American Athletic Conference that are definitely killing it. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the SMU Mustangs to get it done at home and remain undefeated and defeat the Temple Owls. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC West rivalry showdown between the LSU Tigers heading to Starkville, Mississippi to face the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Now this is the 113th meeting between LSU and Mississippi State. LSU leads the all-time series 74-35-3. Now the Tigers won last year's meeting against the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very different week 7s in the SEC. LSU's coming off their big victory over Florida on Saturday. They're coming in perfect at 6-0. And the Bulldogs are coming off their embarrassing loss to Tennessee on Saturday, coming in at 3-3. So coming from me in this SEC West rivalry showdown, if LSU continues this run, I can see them being the threat against Alabama. And we all know LSU has not beaten Alabama in 8 years. But with this LSU team, I think they can definitely get it done. But coming from me, there's going to be a ton of cowbells in Starkville. You already know. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Coach O and the LSU Tigers to get a big win on the road, remain undefeated, and still a threat to Alabama, and defeat the Mississippi State Bulldogs in a shootout. Go Tigers! And now the next matchup. It is a big Pac-12 North rivalry showdown between the Oregon Ducks heading to Washington to face the Washington Huskies. Now this is the 112th meeting between Oregon and Washington. Washington leads the all-time series 60-46-5. Now the Ducks won the last year's meeting against the Huskies, and the Huskies are looking to defeat the Ducks for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very good week 7s in the Pac-12 Conference. Oregon's coming off their big victory on Friday night over Colorado. They're coming in at 5-1. And the Huskies are coming off their big victory over Arizona on Saturday night, coming in at 5-2. So coming from me in this huge Pac-12 North rivalry showdown, I say whoever wins this matchup will be the #1 team in the Pac-12 North going into quite possibly the Pac-12 title game. And it's between two fantastic quarterbacks in Justin Herbert and Adam Eason. This one's going to be good. This one's going to be really good. Coming from me, I'm going to go with Justin Herbert and the Oregon Ducks to defeat the Washington Huskies in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is a big Pac-12 South rivalry showdown between the Arizona State Sun Devils heading to Salt Lake to face the Utah Utes. Now this is the 31st meeting between Arizona State and Utah. Arizona State leads the old-time series 22-8. Now the Sun Devils have won the last 2 meetings against the Utes, and the Utes are looking to defeat the Sun Devils for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are also coming off big wins in the Pac-12 conference in Week 7. Arizona State's coming off their big victory over Washington State on Saturday, coming in at 5-1. And the Utes are coming off their blowout victory over Oregon State on Saturday, also coming in at 5-1. So coming from me in this Pac-12 South rivalry showdown, I say in the Pac-12 South, whoever wins this will be the top team in that division in the Pac-12 conference. But the fact that Herm Edwards is having one hell of a second year at Arizona State. He's 1 win away from bowl eligibility for the second year in a row, and he has definitely been the answer for Arizona State football for sure this year. Coming from me, I may get this one wrong, but I'm going to have to go with the Utah Utes to get it done at home and defeat the Arizona State Sun Devils in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown between the reigning national champions, the Clemson Tigers, heading to Louisville to face the Louisville Cardinals. Now this is only the 6th meeting between Clemson and Louisville. Clemson has won all 5 meetings against Louisville dating all the way back to 2015, and the Cardinals are looking to defeat the Tigers for the very first time. Now, both teams are coming off big victories in Week 7 in the ACC Conference. Clemson's coming off their big victory at home over Florida State on Saturday, coming in perfect at 6-0. And Louisville's coming off their shootout with Wake Forest on Saturday, coming in at 4-2. So coming from me in this ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown, man, Clemson's biggest threat this season was nearly losing to North Carolina. So they are vulnerable, but are they beatable? That's the biggest question. And I think Louisville can give them a fight, but coming from me, I got to go with Trevor Lawrence and Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers to get it done on the road, remain undefeated, and defeat the Louisville Cardinals in a very close shootout. And now the final matchup in Week 8, in which College Game Day will be at this game this weekend. It is a Big Ten East rivalry showdown between the Michigan Wolverines heading to Happy Valley, because it's going to be a whiteout between the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now this is the 23rd meeting between Michigan and Penn State. Michigan leads the all-time series 14-8. Now, the Wolverines won the last meeting last year against Penn State, and the Nittany Lions are looking to defeat Michigan for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming out big victories in Week 7 against Big Ten opponents. Michigan's coming off their big victory over Illinois on Saturday, coming in at 5-1, and Penn State's coming off their very ugly victory, but it's a victory nonetheless, over Iowa on Saturday, coming in at 6-0. So, coming from me in this Big Ten East rivalry showdown in the final game in Week 8, oh, man, this one's going to be good. I'm still not impressed with Michigan. I'm still not impressed with them. They have not impressed me at all. I still don't think they have a chance against Ohio State. And honestly, I don't see them beating Penn State in Happy Valley when it's a whiteout. That crowd is going to be loud on prime time. And that whole building at State College is just going to be rocking with white shirts. So coming from me, I got to go with the Penn State Nittany Lions to get it done at home and defeat the Michigan Wolverines. And those are my Week 8 college football predictions. Now, I want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below. Who do you have winning in Week 8 of the college football season? Do you see another big upset coming in Week 8? We saw it with Georgia last week. Do you see any big upsets happening this week? And as always, represent your college football teams in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course, reply right back to you, because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. And I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Now, before you guys go, as always, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with friends, of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Super kick, and of course, you guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button to become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance, and I will see you guys later tonight for my Week 7 NFL predictions. Later days, guys, and peace.